$3 million, one policy. Two people who prayed together every Sunday. If you suppose took out a life insurance policy tomorrow, would you ask why? Hi, I'm Alec. I'm a psychologist with 20 years of experience and I hold a degree in this work. And what you are about to hear a real story, anonymous, personal, the kind someone told me in this office. I changed the names, the details, the locations, but I didn't change the pain and I didn't change the truth. Like this video if you believe that silence kills more often than mistakes do. And subscribe because the text story is already waiting outside the door. Let's begin. There is a specific kind of cold that lives inside a truck stop at 3 in the morning. Not the cold of weather, the cold of waiting, of knowing something is coming but not knowing what. The cold belonged to Ray. Ray was a truck driver out of Spokane, Washington, 37 years old, 6 feet 2, hands like shovel blades and a bag that had been folded 1,000 times across the mountain passes. He drove a 2019 Peterbilt 579 sleep cab, deep blue paint that he waxed himself every second Sunday. Ray made good money, not fortune money, freedom money. He grossed about $115,000 a year. He worked 60 hours a week, sometimes more. He hauled frozen produce from Washington to California and brought back electronics or wine. He had been doing this for 11 years. He had never missed a child support payment because he had no children. And he had never missed an anniversary because he had a wife. Her name was Susan. Susan was 29. She had long brown hair that she curled every Tuesday at a salon called the Velvet Comb. She had nails that clicked when she typed. Susan had a gym membership and used 3 times a week and a brunch group she got every Saturday. She didn't work, not because she could not, because Ray told her she didn't have to. Ray grew up poor in Yakima. His father left when he was 4. His mother worked hard for providing family. Ray promised himself one thing: his wife would never know that life. His wife would never work hard. His wife would never count coins for bread. So he gave Susan everything. The house was a 2-store on a quiet street in the suburb of Spokane Valley. Not a mansion, but the mortgage was paid. The yard was fenced. The garage had a second refrigerator that held only sparkling water and a juice. Ray gave Susan his paycheck. Every Friday, he deposited his miles, his per diem, his overtime, his savvy bonus, all of it into a joint account. He kept nothing for himself. He bought his own boots twice a year. He bought his own coffee at truck stops. That was it. Susan managed the rest, the groceries, the utilities, her personal training sessions, her facial treatments, her brunches, her trips to Seattle with her girlfriends, just weekends, she said. Ray never asked for receipts. He never checked the balance. He trusted her. Every Sunday morning they went to church, a small non-denomination building with a cross made of unfinished wood. They sat in the 3rd row from the back. They held hands during the prayers. Susan wore a modest dress. Ray wore his only blazer. They sang the hymns They said amen at the same time. After church, they went to breakfast at a dinner called the Rusty Spoon. Susan ordered eggs Benedict. Ray ordered coffee and oatmeal. He watched her eat with a kind of wonder, like she was a gift he had done nothing to deserve. This was their life, quiet, structured, predictable. 7 years of marriage, no children yet. Susan said she wanted to wait until Ray was home more. Ray agreed. He wanted to give her the world first. Then Susan got quiet in a different way. Not the quiet of peace, the quiet of calculation. Ray noticed it first at the dinner table. Susan stopped asking about his day, not abruptly, gradually. Her questions became shorter. Her nods became faster. When he told her about a close call on the pass, black eyes. A jackknifed sedan, she did not flinch. She just said, "Be careful." He thought she was trusting him more. He was wrong. The shift happened over 6 months. Susan started asking about his roads, not in a loving way, in a logistical way. Where do you sleep on the grapevine? Is the truck stop well lit? Do other drivers park near you? Ray answered happily. He thought she was finally asking and interested in his world. He told her about the scales, the weigh station, the places where you could park for free, the places where you paid $20 for a shovel that smelled like bleach and loneliness. Susan listened. She nodded. She took notes on her phone. Then she asked him to increase the life insurance. It was a Tuesday. Ray had just come a 5-day run from Spokane to Bakersfield and back. He was sitting at the kitchen table in his sweatpants. Susan sat across from him. She slid a piece of paper across the table. "Ray, baby, we need to talk about the future." Ray looked at the paper. It was a quote. A life insurance policy, $3 million. He blinked. 3 million? Susan nodded. Her eyes were soft. Her voice was softer. "You are on the road 48 weeks a year. Anything could happen. I just want to be safe. I just want to be taken care of." Ray felt a warmth in his chest. She was scared of losing him. That was love. That was real love. He signed the policy the next day. He didn't read the fine print. He didn't ask about the beneficiary. He assumed it was Susan because who else would be? The premium was $600 a month. Ray paid it from his check. Susan handled the paperwork. She kissed him on the cheek and said, "Now I can sleep at night." Ray slept better too, for about 4 months. Then the small things started to become big things. Susan began going out on weeknights. She said it was book club or yoga or friend's birthday. Ray did not question it. He was on the road. He wasn't home to question it, but when he was home, he noticed the receipts, expensive dinners, hotel bars, places that did not match book club. He asked her once. He laughed and said he was being paranoid. He believed her because Ray believed everything. 6 months after he signed the policy, Susan's plan moved from thought to action. She found a man, not an affair partner, a weapon. His name was Danny. Danny was 33. He had been a roofer until a fall broke his back and an opioid prescription broke his life. He lived in a camper off in 10 State 90. He owed money to people who broke fingers. He needed cash, and Susan had cash. Susan met Danny at a gas station. She approached him and asked if he wanted to earn $10,000. Danny said yes before she finished the sentence. The plan was simple. Ray parked overnight at a specific truck stop in Ellensburg, the one at the exit 109. The lot was dark. The cameras were broken. Susan knew this because she had asked Ray about it 6 months early. He had told her cheerfully he thought she was being Karen. Then he would drive to the truck stop at 2 in the morning. He would carry a gas can and a rag. He would pour fuel around the cab of Ray's truck. He would light it. If Ray woke up, Danny was instructed to make sure he didn't suffer. Susan would collect $3 million. She would pay Danny $20,000. She would disappear. No kids, no joint assets except the house, which he would sell a clean cut. Susan told no one. She kept the plan inside her chest like a second heartbeat. She went to church on Sunday. She held Ray's hand. She sang the hymn, said amen. Then she went home and checked the calendar for the next time Ray would be in Ellensburg. That night came on Thursday, November 9th. The air was cold enough to crack your lips. Ray parked his blue Peterbilt in slot 47. He ate a cold sandwich, wrote in his logbook. He went to sleep in the cab at 11:30. At 1:57 in the morning, another driver was awake. His name was Hank. Hank was 58. He drove a 2020 Kenworth with a sleeper cab and a horn that could awake the deaf. Hank had insomnia. He was sitting in his driver's seat, drinking cold coffee, watching the lot. Hank saw a figure, hooded, moving toward Ray's truck, carrying a red gas can. The figure crouched beside the fuel tank. Hank watched him unscrew the cap, watched him pour, watched the liquid run dark across the asphalt. Hank did not get out of his truck. Hank did not yell. Hank reached up and pulled the cord of his air horn. The sound was enormous. It bounced off the asphalt and the metal and the dark Washington sky. It was the kind of sound that enters your bones before it enters your ears. Ray woke up disoriented. The horn was still blaring. Through his side mirror, he saw a figure running, a gas can left behind, a puddle spreading. Hank kept the horn going for a full 30 seconds. Lights started coming on in other cabs. Driver stepped out, someone called 911, someone else grabbed a flashlight, then he ran into the tree at the edge of the lot. He didn't get far. A state trooper was parked 3 miles down the highway. The call came in at 2:03. The trooper arrived at 2:11. Then he was caught crossing the drainage ditch, soaked in gasoline, crying. Susan was arrested at her home at 6 in the morning. She was still wearing her nightgown. She asked for a lawyer. Then she asked to call Ray. The police said no. Ray sat in his truck for 3 hours after the arrest. He stared at the gas can. He stared at the puddle. He stared at the place where the tree swallowed the man who came to kill him. He called me 4 days later. He said, Alec, the woman who held my hand in church tried to have me burned alive for $3 million. I was worth more dead than alive, to my own life. I asked him, what do you miss most? He was silent for a minute. Then he said, "Sunday breakfast. The eggs Benedict. I hated that meal, but I loved watching her eat it. I thought if she was happy, I was happy. I didn't know she was just waiting for me to die." Susan pled guilty. Conspiracy to commit murder for hire. She received 18 years. She will be 47 when she gets out. Ray will be 55. Neither of them will be same. Ray kept going to church less often. He said the wooden cross looked different now, like it was judging him for believing so easily. He still drives a truck, a different truck, no blue paint, no wax on Sundays. He lives in the cab. He sold the house. He donated Susan's clothes to a shelter. He does not date. He does not trust. He told me once, "I don't think women are bad, Alec. I think I am bad at knowing which ones are real. So I stay alone. It's safer for me." Here's what Ray never told the police. He never told them the 3 weeks before the fire, Susan asked him to update the beneficiary form. She wanted to make sure it was still correct. He signed it without reading it. It was still her name. He never thought to change it. He never thought she would hurt him. He almost died for that thought. Here is my question to you, and I want you to sit with before you answer in the comments. Ray and Susan had no children, no shared debt, no complicated history. They had 7 years of Sundays, 7 years of breakfasts, 7 years of Ray handing over his paycheck and saying, "I trust you." Was Ray a victim of Susan's greed, or was he a victim of his own business? Some of you will say Susan was a monster. She planned to burn a man alive for money. The fault is entirely hers. Ray did nothing wrong except love too much. Others will say Ray ignored the signs, the policy, the questions about his road, the distance in the bedroom, the receipts from places that weren't book club. He saw what he wanted to see. Love is not blindness. Love is seeing someone clearly and choosing them anyway. Ray chose a fantasy. He paid for it with his peace. I don't have the answer. Ray doesn't either. Ray asked me once, "Alec, if you could go back to that Tuesday night at the kitchen table, would you tell me to tear up that policy?" I told him the truth. I would tell you to keep the policy, but I would tell you to make the beneficiary and charity, and I would tell you to watch her face when you did it, because the money was never the problem, Ray. The silence was. You too stopped talking about what the money meant. You just assumed you meant the same thing. You did not. Now I am asking you, what would you tell Ray? Can trust in women be restored? What is your advice? Type it in the comment. And if you want to hear more stories of people trying to put themselves back together after breaking everything, hit subscribe. Because this channel is not about easy answer. It's about saving yourself. This is Alex Sessions. See you in the next session.